Hey everybody, it's Mary Beth, patient care coordinator here at Vibrant Family Chiropractic. And it is currently the day before Thanksgiving, so I wanted to come on here and give you guys some tips for eating and living healthier through the holiday season. I know a lot of times people make a lot of progress with their health through the year. You know, you're coming in here, you're getting adjusted, you're taking care of your nervous system. Hopefully you're coming to some of our classes where we're also teaching you how to move your body more, make healthier choices with food. And this is a time of the year we really don't want you to take all of your hard work and just throw it away and, do whatever and eat whatever you want around the holidays, going against all of the hard work that you've already put in. So we all love the holidays. I personally love holiday food. I love getting together with friends and family. I love cooking. I love hosting. It's a time of the year that I feel like is not really much of a challenge for me to stay on track with my health goals. And all of us here at Vibrant Family Chiropractic, we all live the lifestyle that we teach you about even through the holiday season. So we want to teach you how to do that too. So I just have a few tips today that I want to share with you. Number one is still plan to eat your favorite foods, but upgrade the ingredients. So that might look like, buying pasture-raised meat instead of conventional. That might mean taking a recipe and making it with organic dairy, or even maybe raw, if you can find raw milk, or just high quality organic dairy products instead of conventional. Another really important one to think about is the sugar content of a lot of things that we make around the holidays tends to be really high with sugar, and again, just a lot of processed ingredients. So if you love apple pie, make it from scratch. Look up either a paleo apple pie or an apple pie that maybe uses a sourdough crust or something like that. And then anytime you're making sweets, trying to swap the sugar for honey or for maple syrup or any higher quality sweetener that isn't so processed. And also just being mindful, even when you're using those things like honey and maple syrup, a lot of times we don't need to make things as sweet as they're traditionally made. A really good example of that is I love sweet potato casserole, but a lot of times I'll pass on it just because some of the recipes out there are just really, really sweet, and sweet potatoes are already delicious on their own. And sometimes just a little bit of, a little bit of honey or a little bit of maple syrup is all it really takes to bring out that natural sweetness that is already in fruits and vegetables just the way that they are. Also, again, trying to swap out things that are processed, such as grains. So if there is something that calls for breadcrumbs, if you can find a real fresh homemade sourdough, either maybe you're lucky and a friend of yours makes homemade sourdough, or you can find a good bakery nearby that makes a real sourdough, making recipes with either the sourdough bread or swapping out breadcrumbs for, again, sourdough crumbles, or, just again, even Googling, taking any recipe that you love and just Googling a paleo version of that recipe. They're going to give you higher quality ingredients, no processed ingredients. And that can be another way to just simply swap out, whatever you love to eat around the holidays. We are not here to tell you that you have to live without it. You just want to make a higher quality version. And be realistic. This isn't a time of the year that we would typically recommend doing anything intense, like trying to go keto or just trying to pass up on everything that you love. You definitely can still have it, and you just want to, again, just increase the quality of whatever it is you're cooking. Another really big tip is just making sure when you are having a dessert, when you are having, anything, any carbohydrates or whatever, just always making sure you're having some protein with it. So, anytime, whether it's a meal, of course a meal, but especially a snack or even dessert, hopefully you've just had a meal that had some good quality protein in it. But even like, say, in between meals, when you're maybe cooking in the kitchen or hanging out with family, maybe sitting down to have like a slice of pecan pie with some coffee, before you have a dessert or a sweet snack, stop and say, okay, what's something that I can have with a little bit of protein in it first? Maybe, a slice of some leftover turkey. Maybe I can have, some good quality organic cheese with some grapes. And then, you'll have like maybe a little bit less pecan pie, and whatever amount you have, it'll keep your blood sugar from spiking if you are having some protein at the same time. Another tip I want to talk about is making sure you're still moving your body. So actually, one of the best things you can do after a big holiday meal is move around. And you may not think, or you might think, I can't like go to the gym right now, but can you go play tag with all the kids in your family? Can you convince, a couple of your family members or your friends to go for a little walk for you around the neighborhood, or walk with you around the neighborhood? Anything that allows you to get up and get your body moving, especially right after a big meal, is actually going to help you to keep your blood sugar from spiking. And just again, it's a very easy thing to do. It doesn't have to be running a marathon. It doesn't have to be like a full workout. It can even be vacuuming. If you are the one that's hosting and you're cleaning up the house afterwards and you're moving around a lot, even that can count as activity. So while our schedule's a little bit crazy around the holidays and maybe you aren't going to the gym as often, or it's not as easy to go to the gym, if you're out of town and you're visiting relatives, just think about whatever you can do to still consistently move your body every day. Again, going for a walk counts. Just playing tag, whatever it might be. Going for a hike, if you can maybe convince some people to go for a hike with you, or just whatever you can do, moving your body is always a good idea. Stress management is always good around the holidays. I know it's just hopefully a time that you generally are really excited about, and the most stressful thing for you is just the fact that we can sometimes be very busy. So making sure that you're still making time for a little bit of me time every day, making time for prayer, making time for gratitude and meditation, journaling if you need to, being a planner. A lot of times, I think people get stressed out just because they don't have things planned out. And so then they're just kind of in the motions and trying to figure it out as things come to them. So, if it's, whether it's your Christmas present shopping, or what food you need to make, or your schedule and just like where you need to be at what time, see what you can do ahead of time to organize that to lower your stress. And always know that it's okay to not say yes to everything. There's a lot of opportunities thrown at us and a lot of fun things, events that are happening, again, with friends and with family. And so if you have to say no to something just to practice self-care and say, as much as I want to do this, I really don't want to burn out. I want this to be a time that I'm slowing down and being present and really just maximizing the joy of the holidays, which is what it's all about, right? Like, it's not, we didn't decide to do this to have a time of the year where we're all stressed out and frantic. It's a very special time of the year. And so doing whatever you can to embrace, again, like slowing down, enjoying it, doing more at home, not everything that you have to do, and not every event that you have to go to. You don't always have to leave the house to celebrate. A lot of times, some of my favorite Christmas memories have been made with my family, at home, making a good, like sugar-free, like maybe a honey sweetened hot cocoa with some homemade marshmallows and sitting around and watching a Christmas movie together. And really, I think having the appreciation for those small things is what allows us to enjoy the holidays, to the maximum and keeping stress as low as possible. Another thing I wanted to talk about is just being mindful around alcohol consumption. That's something that we don't talk a lot about sometimes, is what alcohol looks like in a healthy lifestyle. I think it might look different person to person. Some people might find, I think across the board, everybody probably feels their best when they reduce, the amount of alcohol that they're consuming and trying to pick better options like an organic wine, a cocktail that's made with real fruit juice and not, the high fructose corn syrup and all the artificial colors and things like that. But across the board, no matter what, when you are reducing the amount of alcohol that you are consuming, and again, just being mindful, staying hydrated, I think that's when everybody feels their best. I think there are some people that really thrive and feel their best without drinking at all. I have some friends who, choose to just not drink ever. And they just do that because that's how they like to live their life. That's how they feel their best. I personally don't drink very much, and on an occasion, again, like it's a holiday meal, having a nice steak, having some potatoes and some yummy food on the side, I might have one glass of like a really good organic red wine, and then probably I'm gonna switch to water, because I know if I have a couple glasses, if I have definitely more than two, I'm gonna feel really bad the next day and definitely feel that blood sugar dysregulation, a little bit of low energy. So again, just being mindful, and also like asking yourself, if I am overdoing it ever, like why am I overdoing it? Is it because I'm stressed? Is it because, no matter what it is, it's just important to notice our patterns and our behaviors and take a moment to take a step back and say, okay, is this because I have put way too much on my plate and I'm stressed out that I now am feeling like I just want to have, 2 or 3 or more glasses of wine? Do I need to, be more mindful of my boundaries, practice more self-care so that I am then able to be, loving to myself and not overdoing it with the alcohol? So that's important too. If you are going to drink a little bit, there are some things you can do, such as making sure you're drinking electrolytes and not just plain water. We have an amazing electrolyte powder that we sell here. I think basically everybody in the office is obsessed with it if you haven't heard us talk to you about it already. But if I'm gonna have a glass of wine, or sometimes two, I will definitely be sure to hydrate, and the next day I will absolutely be having some of that electrolyte powder in my water, as well as sometimes taking an activated charcoal pill, which can also just make you feel a little bit better the next day if you're like me and very sensitive to the effects of alcohol the next day. And then lastly, I wanted to wrap up and just say, it's super important that you try your hardest to not miss your adjustments. Again, you've worked so hard, your frequency is very important. If you don't hear us say this enough, I'm gonna say it one more time. Dr. Jaron picks your frequency based on what your spine currently looks like and what your health goals are and where we want it to move. So, around the holidays, I know it can be a little bit tricky because maybe you're going out of town. If we haven't already talked to you about this, it's make sure you come in an extra time before you leave. Make sure you maybe come in an extra time when you get back. And I'm sure this is coming, but you want to make sure you are staying consistent with your home care, because that is really what's going to help us maintain those results that we've already been working on. So keep doing your home care. and try to make sure, again, you're not missing adjustments, ideally just moving them and rescheduling them. If you're out of town a week, trying to come in an extra time before, trying to come in an extra time after you get back, and that'll help us keep on track with all the wonderful progress that we're making with your spine and your nervous system health. If you have any other questions, we have tons of ideas for recipes around the holidays. If there's any specific one that you're looking for, if there's anything particular that I said that you want a little more information on, or something I didn't cover that you want information on, just come ask any of us in the health center. And I'm going to wrap up with that. Happy holidays. It's such an exciting time of the year, and we're glad that you were here and part of our community. So let us know how we can support you.